One Battle After Another is the newest film from Paul Thomas Anderson, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Welcome back into another movie review on the Jack Lauderay YouTube channel. If this is your first time ever finding the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are posting movie reviews all the time. I know it's been a little bit of a hiatus. There's been a lot going on in my business career and things like that. This is a hobby nonetheless, but we are back with another review, a film that I was highly anticipating. The reviews coming out of all the festivals and all the early screenings were universal acclaim. Like, there's not been acclaim like this since I can remember. I was incredibly looking forward to watching this film, and it just so happens that one of the 10 theaters in the entire world that runs this film in 70mm IMAX is right here in Dallas, Texas, where I am based. So I got to see it in 70mm IMAX the second day of release, and I'm very happy to report that I really enjoyed this film. Believe the hype, the universal acclaim is deserved. It's absolutely fantastic. This film stars the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Chase Infiniti, who's making her first performance, her first debut ever, which is incredible. Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Teyana Taylor, just to name a few. Those are kind of the core six that we are following throughout the film. And star-studded cast, Paul Thomas Anderson at the helm. You know it's going to be some fireworks, and my God, fireworks was it ever. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to go through my movie rating system, the system that I use to rate movies from a scale of 1 to 100. I gave One Battle After Another a 98 out of 100, as close to a perfect movie as you can possibly get. There's only one movie this year that is rated higher, and that is Warfare, which I rated a 99 out of 100. But One Battle After Another is definitely going to be one of the best movies that we see all year. Let's get into the synopsis. Let's get into the review. No more dilly-dallying. Let's talk about One Battle After Another. When their evil nemesis resurfaces after 16 years, a band of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue the daughter of one of their own. Like I already said, directed by the fantastic Paul Thomas Anderson, starring the likes of Leo, Sean Penn, Chase Infiniti, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Teyana Taylor, along with another wide-ranging cast of characters. I'm just going to get it out of the way. It's a political movie. That's what it is. I don't feel like it was too particular in some ways, shapes, or forms. It definitely takes a stance. Whether you like that stance, hate that stance, I'm not here to judge. You do whatever you do. But from a pure filmmaking standpoint, I think that this is one of the best movies we're going to get all throughout the entire year. Let's get into the brass tacks here. I'm going to get into why I rated things the way I did. I'm going to start with performances. I gave this a 15 out of 15. I think this is one of the best ensembles that we're going to see the entire year. I think that everyone is working at the top peak of their ability. And I think that starts with Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, we already know that Leo is one of the best working actors of this generation, and he shows that here as he shows that here as Bob Ferguson, as this incredibly paranoid, incredibly anxiety driven, incredibly, I think at some points, delusional type character that is always on edge at all times. He's incredibly funny. Like Leo, I feel like in this performance is working at his peak. We've seen him in The Revenant, Wolf of Wall Street. You know the hits, and he gives great performances in those as well. But this is a different gear for Leo that I don't think we've seen in quite some time. He really brought his all to this performance, and I absolutely loved the work that he did. He was not my favorite performance, though. My favorite performance by far is Sean Penn. I think that he is the MVP of this movie. I think that he is absolutely hilarious in this movie, and I think him as the villain was absolutely chef's kiss picture perfect. He was phenomenal. Everything from the way he talked to the way he walked. His walk, I think a lot of people, if you've seen the movie, will agree with me. His walk is absolutely hilarious. Like, just the way he composed himself was literally picture perfect. Benicio del Toro and Regina Hall are also really good in this as well. They give 2 supporting roles. I would have loved more Benicio del Toro. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. I would have loved more of him. But as in those supporting roles, I thought they were fantastic. And then our 2 leading ladies. I think Chase Infiniti, who is making her first debut performance ever, was fantastic. She brought this stoicism to her that I really liked. And Teyana Taylor, while, I guess we'll get into mini spoilers here, watch at your own risk. We're 6 minutes into the video. Teyana Taylor, who's, only in this movie for a, short amount of time, like the first hour of the movie, she commanded every scene that she was in. Like, she was the center of attention in this movie. And when she was on screen, she made the most of it. I really thought she was fantastic. And like I said, the supporting cast and everyone as a whole, they were working on a completely different gear than I think anything we've really seen this year in general. Maybe Sinners is the other one that I can think of, but this cast was just going on all cylinders. And that's why I gave it a 15 out of 15. They were just fantastic. I would expect Oscar nominations, and I would expect a win, maybe 2, for the Oscars come early next year. Direction, 10 out of 10. Paul Thomas Anderson is I think one of the best working directors of this generation. I think a lot of people would agree on that as well. You've got, the Nolans, you've got the Wes Andersons who are in his own niche. You've got the Scorseses. You've got all of these incredible directors that are working, and we live in a great, like a magnificent time for movies because we got all of these incredible directors at our disposal. But Paul Thomas Anderson, he brings his own style. He brings his own vision. And I thought that the execution of this movie was fantastic. I think that pacing's a big thing that people are going to talk about a lot in this movie. It clocks in at, I believe it's 2 hours and 50 minutes. Like, it's basically a 3-hour movie. It felt like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most. Like, for him to get it going, for him to keep the pace up was incredibly impressive. And it's just shot beautifully. A lot of people are going to talk about the car chase at the end of the movie. I completely agree. It's some of the best cinematic filmmaking that we've seen all year, all decade, I would argue. And Paul Thomas Anderson, the way he crafts scenes, the way he brings this story to life is absolutely fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio calls this his magnum opus. I could see that. You could argue there are others that might be his magnum opus, but I think that everything that he has made has led him to this movie, has led him to this story. And apparently, according to Leo, in what he said in one of his interviews, Paul Thomas Anderson has been trying to make this movie for a long time. So I know that it feels like it was made specifically for what's happening in nowadays. I'm trying to tiptoe around everything. He's been trying to make this for a while. So, he's had this idea in his brain, and now he gets to execute it in modern day. And I think it was incredibly bold of him. It was very fearless of him, and I commend him for taking the swings that he took, because I think a majority of them landed successfully. Entertainment-wise, it's a 10 out of 10. This is one of the most entertaining movies you're going to watch all year. It's very scary because it feels very real, but it's also darkly comedic, and I mean very funny. My theater was belly laughing a lot. It's a very tense anxiety trip for 3 hours that's deathly funny at times, that is incredibly terrifying at times, and was just one of the most entertaining theater experiences I'm going to have all year. Now, I saw it in 70mm IMAX, one of the premier viewing experiences you could get. So maybe that's part of it, but I don't think so, because I just enjoyed the movie in general, not just the experience of the big screen. The movie's just a lot of fun, which is weird because of the subject matter, but if you watch it, you kind of understand. Like, it's a thrill ride that I didn't want to end, and was, again, incredibly funny at times while also being very serious. And yeah, 10 out of 10 entertainment. Like, I really enjoyed my time watching this. I give Emotions a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's terrifying. It crawls under your skin. It's anxiety inducing. It's very funny. I think my biggest critique is I didn't fully feel emotional for the characters as much as I did the situations they were in. I still attached to them. Like, I still was rooting for them, but I don't think the story lent itself well enough to like the actual emotional connections we were making to these characters, if that makes sense. So while the emotion is still 9 out of 10, I think situationally it's like in a billion out of 10. There was some character things that I felt like we could have done more in terms of character emotion. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. We're just going to run through the text real quick because this is all flawless in my opinion. Cinematography, 5 out of 5. I think this is one of the most beautifully shot movies of the year. I think the decision to use natural lighting for a majority of the movie and not overexposing shots or over lighting shots, like, gave it a very like worn in feel, like you were there with them on the ground, and I thought that was an incredible decision by PTA, which I would not expect anything less for him. But yeah, the cinematography, 5 out of 5. Like I said, that chase sequence at the end of the movie is pure cinema. One of the best sequences you're going to see all decade, I would argue, in my opinion. Score, 5 out of 5. Who was it that did the score again? I want to make sure I nail this. Oh, it's Johnny Greenwood. Okay, Johnny Greenwood did the score, like, long-time collaborator with PTA. The score was awesome. It hit at the right times. It added so much, like, it was a character in itself. It added so much to the story. I thought the score was fantastic. It was perfect for this movie. Pacing, we've already talked about. I gave a 5 out of 5. A 3-hour movie that felt like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Absolute chef's kiss. Absolutely fantastic. And then the other technical aspects, costume design, set design, sound design, the editing, the sound, like everything. Like, again, this is going to be up for a lot of techs. It deserves it because it's one of the most technically sound movies that you're going to watch all year. It was absolutely phenomenal. And the automatic 5 out of 5 that I give every movie, because movies are just hard to make. So for you to make a movie, I would never give a movie a 0 out of 100. That just seems like it's doing a disservice because making movies is hard, even if they're bad. So an automatic 5 out of 5. And then I always end with the writing. I gave the writing a 14 out of 15. I've kind of already talked a little bit about my thoughts on the writing, but it's a very bold movie from PTA, especially nowadays. It's a very big, like, self-portrait of America and where we are in America. It takes a clear stance. I'm not going to shy away from that. It takes a clear stance. It is very politicized, but it's also just a story within the world that we are currently living in. Like, you look at this movie and you're like, oh yeah, that's like kind of what's going on. And it, like I said, it crawls under your skin. It's terrifying at times because you're like, I don't like this. It makes you feel icky. And it makes you, not feel great about, the current situation. I'm trying to tiptoe around this the best I can. But I think that what PTA was able to do was, again, incredibly bold, made a lot of big swings. I think a lot of them landed. And I think that you were able to tell a rather contained story on a much bigger canvas. Because at the end of the day, while there are political motivations, it's not, the story itself isn't political. It's an ex-enemy resurfacing in the lives of Bob and Willa. And it's like really this cat and mouse game of trying to find each other, trying to avoid, trying to do this, that, the other thing. Like, that's inherently not political. That's just a really good story. And so, like, that dynamic set in the world that it's set in, I thought he nailed. I thought he did a really good job. And I was intrigued. I was on the edge of my seat. I was thoroughly involved the entire time. And he's also able to handle tone in this movie incredibly well as well. It's got its moments to be serious. It's got its moments to be emotional. And like I said, it is a surprisingly funny, hilarious movie at times as well. So I think that I do kind of agree with Leo. You could argue other movies might be Paul Thomas Anderson's magnum opus, but this, I think, is Paul Thomas Anderson at his absolute best. He absolutely cooked here, and I absolutely loved it. Like I said, I gave it a 98 out of 100. It's got worldwide, universal acclaim. Like, people that I know that are usually very, very critical of any film that comes out, good or bad, are saying that this is like masterpiece, like decade-defining type cinema. And I completely agree with them. This is a film that we will go back on in the next decade or so and say, holy crap, like, this is cinema. And this is worthy of the M word, the word that people don't like, that gets thrown out a little too much nowadays. This is worthy of the masterpiece tag. Like, he cooked here. This is a filmmaker, a writing team, a cast, and a technical crew that are working on all fronts, that are working full force. And it's like, you've got to respect that. You've got to respect that. And I did. I thought it was fantastic. I really, really loved this film. Go down below in the comments. You let me know. That's where I'm going to end it. What did you think of One Battle After Another? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts. Be respectful. I have a feeling that if you get down in the comments and you start a conversation that's not respectful, it might break out into something that we don't want to get into. But go talk about the movie itself. Go talk about the filmmaking and let me know what you thought down below. That's where we're going to end it, guys. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the video. I know it's been a few months since I made my last video. I believe my last review was Fantastic Four. There's just been a lot going on, just football season started. I've been covering the Red Sox personally for work, and I just haven't had a lot of time. So I'm very happy to be making this review for you guys. I love this movie. I needed to make this review because I felt so strongly about it. If you want more, make sure you subscribe. Also, like the video, comment, do all the things you do on YouTube, and also follow me on social media. All those links are going to be down in the comments and description of today's video. That's where we're going to end it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of One Battle After Another, and until next time, we'll see you in the next video.